residents to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you. Speaking of listeners like you.
Hey.
Yeah.
I don't know about you,
but I'm
feeling 2022.
Yeah.
Baby.
Let's kick off the new year with a 5-star review.
Yeah, let's do it. Do we have one?
Yeah, we do. You put it in.
I was trying to play coy.
Oh.
Fine. Peek behind the curtain. Yeah. We've got a bunch in the queue.
You put it in.
I kind of folded this one in. I haven't done it in a while, and I was a little nervous. I folded this review in.
It showed. It's a 5-star review, number 138, and it's a Yelp review of Starbucks in Providence, Rhode Island, from Zach O.
Amazing.
Incredible. Who goes on to say, were you excited about the upcoming Black Adam movie and made a mistake of looking up who Hawkman is? Well, don't worry. The Dr. DC podcast is there for you to help explain that Gordian knot of continuity and any other query you may have about the greater DC multiverse. This distinguished and award-winning Canadian podcast is broadcasting straight from the frozen wastes of the Yukon with all the elegance that the two esteemed hosts are capable of.
Ugh. I mean, that's technically true.
Sounds like it's better, though.
Yeah.
Than what the reality which is to say none.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There you go. Okay.
We got there.
Yeah. But listen anyways, because this podcast is hilarious, horny, and sometimes strangely thought-provoking. #D-Ring the Core. That's the first time someone actually just said horny. Like, people dance around it and say thirsty and things like that. No one's ever just straight up said.
I don't think we've ever been horny on Maine on the pod.
If that's just what your essence is.
By the way, February is thirst month.
Yeah, there it is.
We're talking thick thighs.
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about.
On a completely unrelated note.
Yeah. No, this is the first main episode of the new year.
Yeah. It's another fucking year. We're just...
Look, 2022 is a great way to go out.
Yeah, you have started the campaign that this is the final year of the podcast, which no one agreed to.
One way or another.
Good Lord. I mean, I'm intrigued. You've piqued my interest.
I'll never tell.
One way or another? I mean, I'll hear them out.
Could be anything, even ending the podcast.
So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, we did get together yesterday to record Ghost Facers, but otherwise we haven't really recorded together.
It was weird
in a couple of weeks.
Again, because our office
we hadn't even
shut down.
seen each other in a week.
Yeah, our office is shut down, and we there hadn't been a reason for us to get together.
Yeah, we got together once over the holidays as friends, and that was quite enough.
Oh God, I think I fucking made a time. I thought something fun we could do before we getting into the other segments is maybe talk about our comic resolutions for the year.
Ooh, interesting. Like, well, what do you mean by comic resolutions? Like
any resolutions you can come up with in relation to comic books. So for me,
interesting. Okay.
Like, I would love to read at least 4 trades a month.
I think that's good. You know, you've got a lot of stuff to read. I think that's not too ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you do one a weekend, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you do one each weekend, and
yes.
then you're basically doing it. You know?
I think that is good for me.
I think mine is, and I've already been kind of doing it.
Yeah.
Thanks in no small part to our listeners and the people on the doc squad and stuff like that. I think I want to make sure I'm reading at least one indie trade a month.
Ooh.
Doing more branching out. And beyond, specifically indie, as opposed to Marvel. Because I will be checking out Marvel stuff, here and there. And obviously, DC's locked down. But yeah, the indie stuff I've read I had a really big day of reading a few days ago.
Ooh.
Because my daughter went to daycare for the day. My wife was working and I was just at home.
Yeah. Was that not today too?
No. We were all home today.
Oh.
But I read like 2 volumes of Sex Criminals. I read Once and Future. I've read the first volume of Die. There was something else. Oh, I read Geiger. I read the first volume of Geiger.
Do you have
a few things like that? So I think also kind of because I've gotten bored with going to like the bookstores in town and looking for DC trades or whatever and being like, there's nothing there I want. And even Marvel and be like, there's nothing there I want.
I know.
And I'm like,
at that point.
Indie stuff, I go like, there's actually like decent indie trade stuff to go through.
Kohl's did just re-up on a bunch of new stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out. But that's also part of it. But yeah, I think that's a resolution. If I read like 12 indie volumes this year, I mean, that's like a minimum.
You have my Department of Truth, don't you?
I don't. I almost picked one up myself.
Oh, well,
but I don't have
if you pick up number 1, I've got 2 2s.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought I didn't buy it and then I realized I did.
Classic.
Yeah.
Love that.
Because I've been like looking for it and then I apparently had bought it at some point and then
there's a Department of Truth, but you need number 1?
No, I've got it.
Oh, you have it. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. I got number 1.
I thought you got 2 2s, but now you don't have 1.
No. I had number 1 and then I thought
okay.
I needed number 2 and I don't.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'm saying indie. What I mean is creator owned, because like stuff like
not big 2. You mean?
Well, or if it's published by the big 2, like just other stuff, like non-superhero stuff is really the broader term of what I mean. But because like Nice House on the Lake, like shit like that. I'm like, oh yeah, let's read more of this kind of shit.
Yeah. My other resolution for comic books is to get to 3,000 books this year.
I mean, you can't be that far from it.
2,600.
I'm almost at 4,800.
Jesus Christ.
I got a bunch today. The Demon and Hellblazer.
Oh, that's the one you got from the
local.
The
ones I from the buy and sell in town.
Ooh.
Do you have a different like an additional comic resolution to basically read a trade a week?
I want to do all of Metal and Death Metal this year.
Sure, yeah.
I don't have all of the like tie-ins, but
I mean, certainly for Death Metal, you don't need them all.
Yes.
But
for Metal, I know about that's like
for Metal, at least make sure you get the Dark Knights Rising thing, because that'll.
Do I have that?
You might, because that I think is the one that includes like the actual origin issues for each of the Dark Knights.
I feel like I might have that, but that's a big one that I want to do this year. I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I want to start getting deeper into Marvel this year. Like I have a decent amount of stuff, but it's largely the same things.
Right.
I want to
you want to expand beyond Ms. Marvel and Miles Morales.
Yes.
Yeah.
But those are I think those are the big ones this year for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely I want to read more indie stuff, and I don't know if I have another specific kind of one. Maybe I want to fill a couple of gaps in a couple of series.
Ooh.
A thing that I normally don't think about.
What's the series you're thinking about?
I mean, I'm not going to fill this series this year, but like
Aquaman.
My interest is peaked on Aquaman.
Well, now you've got
1.
3 of the
first self-titled Aquaman series. I'm like, do I go for it? I mean, some of them are going to be a lot harder than others, and some of them I just straight up won't be able to afford.
Aquaman number 1,
obviously. But I think I might just be going for it a little bit. I have some, and I got one. Well, I got a couple from you. I had a couple already. I have that very classic, almost like colored pencil looking cover with Mira on it. Like, I think it's number 40 or 43 or something like that. You'll see it online. It's very kind of classic cover. I've had that one for a long time, but I got Aquaman Volume 1, number 37 from my dad over Christmas. It's the first appearance of the Scavenger.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck, I should Yeah. I normally don't think too much about it because I just go like, when I find stuff, I'll find stuff. But there's a part
It's
of
your
me,
favorite character too.
there's a part of me that's like, and I'm kind of like, I think it's like my duty.
Yeah.
There's like a part of me
Yeah.
that's like, I think I owe it to Aquaman
Yeah.
to like go out of my way and put some effort in that way.
That's absolutely fair. I was like that with the What If.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty fucking close to having all of the first volume.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. How big is that series? Like how many issues were
That's
there?
a good question.
That first one. I know there are a couple of volumes.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because it's there's really like I think there's 2 or 3 volumes right now. There's actually not a ton of them, but I have how many is there? I'm missing.
Is it like a 100-issue series or like a 60-issue series or?
It is it's only 47.
Oh, you know what? That's doable.
And
That's very reasonable.
Yeah, and I have.
I mean, I'm saying that. I don't. Who knows how hard they are to actually come by, but.
Yeah, I'm missing what is that? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 20 I'm missing issues.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I've got 27 of
Sweet.
them. Yeah, so like 20 something. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I've gotten pretty far. I think I can do it this year for sure. Is I can complete OMAC, the first volume.
Oh, I mean, there's not too many issues.
There's
that.
not.
Yeah.
It's like 7 issues. Or something. It's a pretty small run, and I've got 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, that might be. This is a good one. I wouldn't have gotten there on my own, but you've reminded me. I will say a comic resolution is for me to load up on more Kirby, not just characters, but like actual Kirby.
Yeah, I'm missing.
So,
it's 8 issues.
Whether
I've got
that
3.
means New Gods or Mr. Miracle or Commandy or
That's been a big
whatever.
one.
I think that's a 2022 comic resolution is to get more Kirby in my collection.
I want to start getting into some Kirby like Thor like stuff.
Sure, yeah. Nice.
Any podcast resolutions
For our podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I have to end over 500 in the game. In the guessing game.
Oh.
I have to end over 500. I need more wins than losses. After Docmas, it's probably close.
Yeah.
I need that though. That's on my like resolution. I mean, some things are slightly beyond my control, but it would be cool just to keep seeing our group of patrons has grown, and the Doc Squad is growing, and people are having a fun time participating, and I'd like to see that keep going.
Within reason.
Hashtag last year of the show. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see that. I obviously always want to see us get like more listeners and stuff, but what about you? Do you have like a specific resolution for the podcast for this year?
I mean, yeah, I'd love to get some like female comic creators on the show.
That would be huge. I would love that.
I think we've had some decent female guests and like LGBTQ plus like representation and stuff, but we haven't really had any comic creators that are female. And there's a ton out there. So hopefully, if we get to go this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's a sort of resolution, COVID depending.
Yeah, I didn't even
among other things.
Yeah.
If we get to go to Fan Expo, there's
Vancouver.
the hope that we can get hooked up with some cool interviews and stuff, because we're waiting on press passes and stuff like that, which would be kind of neat. Yeah, that would be cool. It would be awesome to get a couple of like female DC creators on here. I know for me, I would really love to do like a Catwoman ep or something like that with like Joelle Jones or something like that. Would be like a ton of fun for me.
Yeah. The Cat and the Bat.
Yeah, but you know, there's lots of other creators I'd want to talk to too. But yeah, I think for some reason that one pops to mind. I think I just love her art. But
I'd also love to try to do one prescribed dicking a month.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the least you can do.
No, the least I can do is nothing.
You're going to be reading.
Well, that's the thing.
4 trades a month.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just trades, not random single issues and stuff. I think you can easily do a prescribed dicking a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I do that, I could probably get through half of my trades if I do 4 a month. So
basically 52.
Yeah. So,
the magic number.
That's the magic number. So that is
for someone out there is going to be like 4 a month is 48, but I'm like he'll do it weekly.
So that is our resolutions. And before we get into today's episode, why don't we talk a little bit about some of the news? I know it's been a while since we've done that.
Holy shit.
I know.
It's the olds, baby.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, first, the Batman release on HBO Max confirmed.
Yeah, I think it's something like
after 45 days.
Yeah, it gets like 45 days of theater exclusive release.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's faster than shit comes to Disney Plus.
No, for sure.
So I'm cool with that. I mean, listen, I get it, and it's already been proven. You make more money when you do the like theatrical exclusive, like even more than if you do the simultaneous release or something like that. So I get it. I know why they're doing it. 45 days. I mean, listen, it's hard to stay offline. Stuff's going to get spoiled for you or whatever.
Yeah.
But 45 days is not that long to wait, you know, in serious quotes, to stay safe or not go to a theater and then have access to something at home.
Yeah.
In a legal way, which we know is my jam. Love that. You know, fucking Disney, it's like 3 months later. Like, how long did I have to wait to watch fucking Shang-Chi and shit like that? Black Widow, like,
sure.
Or no, Black Widow was the one maybe that came out. You could just buy it premium, not Black Widow. But Shang-Chi, I still haven't seen Eternals, you know, because I'm fucking waiting, and it's like months and months and months and months. And I get it, but there's little incentive for Disney not to do that, but I appreciate that the window isn't quite as long for the Batman. I mean, it's slightly breaking from, wasn't it their thing that they were like, we're going to, in 2022, every movie's going to go to both at the same time.
And people loved that.
Yeah, and I mean, probably a bunch of their directors were like, fuck you are, because of how directors get paid and how a lot of those
as we saw after
work.
the Black Widow thing. Yeah.
And Wonder Woman, because they had to pay out Patty and Gal.
Yes.
But like, that wasn't a lawsuit. That was just them being like, we know we have to pay out Patty and Gal.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
So like, I get it. Yeah.
Did you see the other movie theater in town is for lease?
Well, I mean, it has been the whole time, hasn't it?
No. They have like a big for lease sign on the door now.
Oh, I thought it had been the whole time. Because that was the thing, but then only one kind of got saved.
It hadn't had a sign up, but I was like...
Do you think the same people are moving on the other one, too?
No, I doubt it. That's too much for them. But...
Well, I mean, frankly, one is too much for them, but I'm glad they're doing it.
Yes, but I'm like... Part of me is like, could you imagine just like you and I take it over? And it's just like we just play like dorky movies.
It would be like having like, instead of having like an actual cinema, it would be like having like a film center, but we're screening 1997 Steel.
Yeah, like it's only
there'll be a Q&A at the end.
Like, but we get access to like the Batman and like there's enough dorky movies in a year that you could.
It would be kind of cool.
Just like that's all I thought of. I was like, I wonder if you could like sustainably just play those types of movies.
If I wasn't so like specifically financially risk averse, I'd think about it.
Right?
But
it had. You know what's funny?
I don't have your like cojones for like starting up businesses with no. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say with no. You put in your due diligence, but like you seem to just start businesses and go like it'll be successful because I'm willing it, and I'm kind of like I need to see it being a success, and I gotta find a way in at as little risk as possible.
Part of me, it was funny.
I have such like a different mentality.
Yeah, no. I'm just like. I know all the components to make a business successful. No matter what you do, as long as it's not something stupid, you probably will be successful.
I know, but I think this also comes back to the other personality thing about us is you're like, wow, what a fun challenge. I know what needs to be done and I'm ready to do it. And I'm going like, Jesus, what a challenge. I know what needs to be done and I do not want to do that kind of work.
You know what's funny was
I think that's part of it. It's like, and with the amount of work I want to do, this is risky.
maybe it was like us having a week apart, but like all week long I kept trying to think of businesses you and I could start.
That's really funny.
I was like, I wonder if we could do like an online comic book sales like thing. I'm like,
it's hard enough for us to get our own comics up here. We're supposed to coordinate other people.
Well, that's why, and that's why I stopped myself with that. But I was like, there's got to be something else that we could do.
Sure, yeah. Well, Bruno was also trying to talk us in.
Look, it doesn't take
starting
much.
/ taking over a comic book store.
It takes almost nothing. If our local shop like came up for sale,
I will admit, if that was an opportunity, I'd risk it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go in on that.
Yeah,
that is a business I would go in.
Next, have you seen the red band trailer for Peacemaker?
Probably. I mean, I've seen the trailers for Peacemaker. I don't.
Let's see if I can. It was from. Let's see when it actually came out, because I think it came out like today or yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you haven't seen.
Maybe I haven't seen this new one then. No.
Let's take a look.
Sure.
Because I haven't seen it.
It looks fun.
That actually is probably the best thing I've seen of this yet.
It looks fun. Yeah.
That like.
I do like that, even though obviously they want you to root for Peacemaker even after all the shit from the Suicide Squad. I do like that there's still elements in there where you're like, no, he's still like, he's not unpsychopathic.
He's not a good guy.
Yeah. I do like the line "Eat peace, motherfucker." I think is very funny. I just really enjoy that.
It's really funny. I'm more excited than I have been.
It'll be fun. It's gonna be good. Yeah, I like it.
I like it. All right, next, General Zod and Fiora coming to the Flash movie.
Yeah, I think this is confirmed. Question mark?
Yes.
I think like their names showed up on some sort of like casting, like cast list or whatever, which kind of makes sense. I mean, obviously this Flash movie, it's like parallel Earths, multiverse kind of thing. We know Supergirl is in it. So I imagine it's some version of, we're getting some version of Man of Steel, but it's Supergirl. Not, you know what I mean? Like we bomb in and it's, you know, where did you train? On a farm? Or it's some shit like that, I imagine. I don't imagine they are like huge in it, but yeah, I think that's cool. I like that.
I'm also like,
I still like, personally, other than a couple of the more kind of recent movies, I still think Michael Shannon as Zod is like one of the best comic book movie villains.
Totally.
Whatever you think about that movie, I think Michael Shannon is fucking bringing it.
He's a great Zod.
Incredible as Zod.
I mean, he's also just an incredible actor.
I mean, he's a great actor. Because I love like interviews with him where he's like, I don't know what the fuck this is about. He's just like, he's like, oh, there's a spaceship, alien, whatever.
I'm a character, yeah. Like,
I love that.
I know what my motivation is.
I love it so much.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
We finally got some gameplay footage of the new Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League trailer.
Ooh.
Do you want to see that?
I do want to see that. Because we've seen just the cinematic trailer, and then they released like another cinematic thing that had like clip of the Flash or something in it, which was fine.
Yeah.
It was something about like the Flash zipping around, Deadshot trying to shoot him, and he says like, why don't you mail me the bullet?
Yes.
Like something like that. I've seen that.
So this
but I haven't seen the actual gameplay.
So this is a bit of that as well as gameplay.
Gotcha. Maybe it's from that and I only just saw the little clip. That looks fun. That looks fun as hell.
It's interesting because the gameplay and the animation kind of reminds me of like a little bit of like Borderlands and Saints
especially
Row.
with like you've got like the Brainiac purple and it's like the bright colored sky. And it does kind of have that sort of like,
and almost like that pixely art sort of like whatever that style of art from Borderlands.
It does kind of have that vibe to it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what it would? I don't know if it has it, but if I was like 13 and this game had like local co-op on it, like couch co-op,
right?
Like if you could do like split screen co-op with like a bunch of friends, like each of you play a different member and you go after each other, like it would be the funnest game ever.
That'd be fun as hell.
Yeah, like
I do like that we kind of have like I don't know if he's probably still Digger Harkness, but I like that we're using like the Owen Mercer Captain Boomerang power set where he has some super speed.
it's the thing that like evens him out, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise.
It's like, all right, like even Harley kind of makes him seem.
Yeah.
But,
no, it looks like a ton of fun. What are the odds that it's PS4 playable?
Probably pretty good,
Pretty
actually.
good?
Yeah, honestly.
Because then I'm fucking there.
Well, yeah.
Could you imagine that? Me getting a brand new game it comes out?
It'd be ridiculous. There are games that have come out right now that you could
I know,
play.
but I'm not necessarily interested in
Sure,
them.
yeah.
Like, lots of things.
But to be interested in a game
and then like get pumped for it and then like get it when it comes out the way I would like a movie or something like that. I don't think I've ever done that.
I wonder if Elden Ring will be.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
if it's PS4 playable, I'm there. If it's PS5 playable, I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Last of Us 2 again.
Yeah, I'm still crying.
Yeah. Weird. Final piece of news. Have you seen the trailer for the Wonder Woman video game?
It's just like a little tease, right? Like I've seen that like
holy shit.
Yeah, we're getting a Wonder Woman
I can't
game.
believe how many fucking DC games we're getting. We haven't gotten anything in years, and then suddenly it's like fucking like Gotham Knights and like Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman. Like, holy shit.
A Wonder Woman game. That's like fucking cool as hell.
Incredible.
Yeah, I don't think we know anything about it other than it's coming.
I wonder if we're going.
Do we even know? Like, do we know who the developer is? You probably know more. Like, if you probably know more what a developer's like what it means to it. You know?
Yes, I don't. Let me see if I can find it because. That will be pretty indicative of probably the type of game that it is.
Like, I'm wondering if it's going to be like...
Oh, interesting. It's a Warner Bros. Game, so
that's like WB Montreal? Like the people doing Gotham Knights?
Yeah. I don't know if it's Montreal, but...
Interesting.
But that sort of opens things up, a bit more. Maybe it is, yeah. I mean, it's still Warner Bros. Like, it's probably...
I kind of hope it has... a slight kind of God of War-ish, not like all the way to God of War 4, but you know what I mean, like some of that kind of I'm interested. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I want to be able to like use the lasso like really like dynamically.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that
like
would be my
for
guess.
Traversal, or also like use the environment, get the person, get the truth out of them, throw them somewhere else.
Kind of like Spider-Man. Yeah.
Like if you have to get info or whatever, you like get that out of them.
Yeah.
Throw them. Yeah, I do. I want the Spider-Man kind of thing in there, but I don't think I would want the Wonder Woman game to be like as open as that. I think I want it like.
You want a story?
I want a story, you know, like and
like,
that's what that's
like
kind of
Uncharted?
what that's kind of what I mean by the God of War thing. Is like a little on the rails, not just like go do whatever you want, come back to the quest when you feel like it. Like
if it was like Uncharted, that would be rad.
Yeah, who knows?
I do like the idea because it's like the lasso of truth. It's like that thing from Not Another D&D podcast. Like he pulls somebody and it's just like, I'm doing this for my sick brother. Ah!
No, my children.
Yeah. That'd be really funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
All right. Well, that is it for the news, which means we're getting into today's theme.
Yeah, holy shit. We're doing it.
We're doing it, Peter. 5 dimensions.
Yeah.
This is the
Listen.
fifth.
Lou Bega said it best.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Fifth dimension.
Yeah. God, I remember.
We're back, baby. Those comedy pistons are firing.
In 1 week, we've made 2 Lou Bega jokes.
Oh no,
we did it in Ghostfacers.
We did it yesterday.
Oh yeah, we're on the fucking cutting edge of comedy.
That's how you know we're back. We're already borrowing our own jokes.
Gotta listen to both pods. It's the only way to really get it.
It's that cross-pollination, baby.
No, we're talking about the fifth dimension. So what does that mean?
Fifth dimension is the realm of imagination. It's where the imps are from. Imps and genies in DC. People like Mr. Mxyzptlk, like Batmite, like Yiz.
Oh, God, I'm going to Yiz.
I like how you said that. The way we used to do the chunk. I think I'm gonna chunk.
I think I'm gonna Yiz. Is that not how you Yiz?
103.2, the Yiz.
Oh, God, I don't feel so good. I'm gonna Yiz.
Open wide, the Yiz is coming.
Whoa, that sounds great. Oh, yeah, we're gonna Yiz now. We left our previous station.
Shooting the biggest hits of the 2000s all over your ears.
Hot loads of music. The hottest loads of music.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're talking about the
We're
fifth.
spitting traffic and weather before you swallow these tunes.
That's right. It's the top 5 at 5. Let's enter the glory hole.
Oh, I think I'm gonna use.
That's right. We've been backed up all day, and we're ready to release the best hits of the 90s.
You know, babe, if you don't listen to these tunes, it could really hurt me.
It hurts the station.
Jesus Christ. Support for the Dr. DC podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code DRDC20 at manscaped.com. Imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed, optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. It used to be poop, not anymore. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I'm blown away by the performance, the craftsmanship, the details on the 4.0 are next level. I used to hurt my balls all the time trimming, trying to use like a different, like not designed for your balls razor. You know, you can't do that. I've done it with like the old, you know, Mach 5 before. That's a dangerous proposition. There's no good way to do it. It's difficult terrain. So get your hands on this lawnmower, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Manscaped has engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. I now feel confident shaving my boys. This upgraded trimmer includes a multifunction on-off switch that can engage a travel lock. It also gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight, 4000 and K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. The Lawnmower 4.0 even allows you to customize your trim through additional guard lengths with sizes 1 to 4. Did I mention wireless charging? I didn't, but now I am. The new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. It's true. I went to charge it up and I was like, where does this plug in? It doesn't, baby. It's an induction charger. That's the future. Men, if you've been shaving with the same nut trimmer on your face, you've been doing it wrong. No person wants to end up with pubes in their mouth, probably. It's time to get your own ball, hair, and body trimmer with Manscaped to make me time the best time and enhance your confidence with some nice, smooth boys. So you can get 20% off and free shipping when you use the code DRDC20 at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DRDC20 at manscaped.com. One more time. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code DRDC20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. And now, back to the show.
All right, why don't we get into today's...
Please.
We're going to start with the Twitter.
Twitter.
First question comes from lesbian of many names. Oh, lesbian. I haven't heard that name in many.
You don't mean old Ben lesbian. Out beyond the Dune Sea.
Yes, I'm a lesbian of many names, muff diver. You've heard. There's different cultures called me.
So I'm a little
things.
straight from a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view. I've got the lower ground.
My wife has been watching like old Comedy Central roasts. Sometimes the jokes there are great. Sometimes they're like fine.
Yeah.
But one that has routinely made me laugh when I hear her like rewatching clips.
Yeah.
I think it's Natasha Leggero makes a joke about Kevin Hart where she just says that he goes up on his wife. It's made me laugh so hard. I've heard it like 4 times, and every time I'm like, "That's a good joke."
One of my favorite is it's the Rob Lowe one.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And Jimmy Carr goes up, and he's like, I don't think it's fair that everyone tonight has been making fun of Pete Davidson's father.
Yeah, who died on 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't the roast of Pete Davidson's
That
father.
was in 2001.
It's a fucking good joke. It's dark as hell, but it's a good joke.
Oh, God. So the lesbian of many names asks, how do the events of Batman R.I.P. fit into the larger idea of the fifth dimension? More specifically, what's actually going on with Batmite?
So, we've talked about Batman R.I.P. a little bit before on the show.
Yeah, where they go after like ghosts, like and put them in jail.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges is playing like a True Grit character, basically.
Can you do your Jeff Bridges again?
I'm going to go after some ghosts. Bruce Wayne made this in a cave. Yeah, no, not Batman R.I.P.D.
Oh, I
Sorry.
keep mixing those up, yeah.
Batman R.I.P.
Yeah.
It's a Morrison joint. It's one of those stories where it was riffing on a bunch of kind of Silver Age Batman concepts and trying to reground them or reestablish them. One of the concepts was the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, which in the Silver Age, he's a Batman that has like a red and orange suit with a purple cape. He was like an actual alien.
Sure, he's not the original Green Lantern?
Yeah. I mean, they had the same tailor. But
what do you mean, Jefferson?
It's me, Gamby.
Yeah.
Would you like more colors?
Yeah.
So the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh in the Silver Age was like an actual alien. It was like a Batman with superpowers, basically.
Oh.
And then it kind of got reimagined as like that Batman had made like a psychic defense, like in all of his prep, stuff like that. He had created an alternate personality to defend him from psychic attack.
I already has an alternate personality.
It's me.
Matches not Batman Malone.
Post matches
Oh,
Malone.
yeah, that's right. You could tell by my tattoos.
He had to get permanent tattoos.
Yeah.
So now as Bruce Wayne, he's got to wear makeup and shit to cover them up.
Don't ask me about my tattoos.
This one says, I'm Batman.
Oh,
Nothing.
yeah, because
Where's the crime at?
Yeah.
Hey.
Sorry, continue.
So it was like an alternate personality he created to like defend him against psychic attack.
Sure.
So he gets psychically attacked, and then this personality comes out that is the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh.
Okay.
And then like the reveal is that like something about like even Zorro go crazy in Arkham or something. So he's like Zorro in Arkham, Zur-En-Arrh. Like they kind of do a like,
sure,
and that's where that came from,
Yeah.
sort of thing. But the other piece of that is that Batmite shows up in that story while Batman is like, am I crazy? What's happening?
Yeah.
And at one point, Batman asks Batmite point blank, are you actually a fifth dimensional imp, or are you a figment of my imagination? And Batmite says the fifth dimension is imagination. So which is essentially like the cop-out answer.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about that is that it doesn't really... It would be so easy to be like, oh, and Batmite never existed or something. And then you could find a way to write around that. But it actually, like, that kind of works. It's not the way Batmite usually operates, which is just show up from the fifth dimension. Everyone can see Batmite or whatever.
Yeah.
Batmite being, like, Batman's Mixes Pitlick. But it does technically hold true. So in terms of like what does Batman RIP do to the continuity of the fifth dimension, it actually doesn't fuck it up. The fifth dimension is a realm of imagination. It's beyond space and time. And the imps and genies have such immense power because it is just the power of imagination. So even though they do show up materially in the three-dimensional world, there's no reason that they couldn't show up as a figment of imagination. Like, that still works. You know what I mean? So the story plays coy with it in terms of, like, truly the way you read that story, Batmite's not actually there.
Yeah.
But what's the difference? And it's a good point to make. It's like, am I a being from the realm of imagination, or am I a figment of your imagination?
Yeah.
It's like, baby, we're talking about two sides of the same coin. So it's kind of interesting that way. I like that. I mean, to talk about Batmite a little bit, the thing that's interesting about Batmite is that he's slightly different from Mixes Pitlick, not in like what he is, but in terms of his like motivation. Like Mixes Pitlick likes to vex Superman. It's always being that very kind of like trickster kind of character. Batmite causes mayhem in that, but only because he is such a big fan of Batman. Yeah. He wants to see Batman in action. So it'll be like he'll show up and he'll like turn Arkham Asylum to bubbles and all the prisoners will escape, and he'll be like, great, now I get to see Batman bring them all in again.
Hell yeah.
Like, it's that kind of thing, whereas Mixes Pitlick is just, he would do that and be like, that's going to ruin Superman's day. So they have like kind of slight different motivations that way. There's something almost kind of innocent about Batmite. He idolizes Batman. So, you know, he wears like a handmade like bat outfit and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting.
Fascinating. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, next question. Comes from Ragin' G, ripped a phone book with my hands. Ragin' G, my favorite Queer Eye hostess tan.
Really pushing the number of syllables, but you landed that plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You landed that plane the way they land the plane in Con Air. Like, pretty rough, but technically
everyone's alive and safe.
We're all alive. Yeah, we made it.
I did like let a pedophile loose, but that's not my problem.
That's not what Con Air's about, mostly.
Huh? They put a lot of fucking time on it.
A pedophile? I haven't
Really?
watched Con Air in a while. Who's the pedophile?
What's his name?
Malkovich?
No, B. Buscemi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
we always forget that part, don't we?
Oh, yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah, never mind. I don't need to go back to that movie. I'm all right.
Raging G asks, How can somebody explain fifth dimensional beings and their powers to someone that doesn't know about comics? For the inevitable movie, Mixik-Pitlick versus the DC Universe, starring Gilbert Godfrey as the titular characters.
I mean, Gilbert Gottfried, just on that note, voiced Mixik-Pitlick.
Really?
In the Superman animated series.
I mean, it's a perfect, yeah.
It's amazing. You'll never get me to say kill Tipsyism. Dang.
Yeah.
It's pretty perfect casting, actually. It's great.
The only other person I could see do that is maybe like John Mulaney.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the right kind of voice for. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God! You know what I heard somebody do the other day? They said that. Do you know Emperor's New Groove?
Yes.
The big like bodyguard guy,
Kronk.
They said that Kronk is just the slow, like deeper version of John Mulaney.
So I saw that.
Yes,
I saw that. It was like Patrick Warburton and John Mulaney actually have the same voice.
Yes, it's
and
just
I was like, no, they don't. And I was like, oh my God,
no, they don't. No, they don't. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, someone just basically like pitched their voice and just like slowed down or sped up. And yeah, it was. I did see that. It was
so funny. Patrick Warburton.
Patrick. Yeah,
that's a different Patrick. Yeah,
Patrick.
Yeah, that's just you did Patrick.
Hey, SpongeBob.
Hey, SpongeBob. Patrick Warp. That's how you do it. That's the key. Patrick.
I know what you're going for. I can't get there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I know. I can't get there though. I don't think I could do a Patrick Warburton. Like I could do anyone.
I mean, I don't know about that.
Fifth dimension.
Yes.
When you just hear that thrown around,
yeah,
what does that like mean to you? Because the point of this question is like, how do you explain this concept? I think people are starting like as a general, audience. We've got a relatively concrete understanding of what a multiverse is. Parallel Earths, that kind of thing, right? But how would you explain something like multiple dimensions? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, if you're thinking that we are in the third dimension, we have three dimensions, right? It's like, so the fourth dimension to me feels like some fucking Morrison shit. So like the fifth dimension feels like, well, how do you get more like?
Well, technically, fourth dimension is time.
Sure. Okay.
Because you could take the entire three-dimensional physical space and then it exists through time, so that must be another dimension, right?
Yeah.
So the fourth dimension is time.
So what's the fifth dimension then?
We're three-dimensional beings though.
Yes.
Is the because we can't perceive all of time.
Sure. So so how do you describe the fifth dimension then if the fourth is time?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like how do you describe it, I think the easiest way is like not to worry about
it's like it's like another universe. Like
it's not to worry about physics.
Yeah.
In physics, there are like lots of dimensions, and mathematically, there's things like 11-dimensional supergravity and things like that.
Or did you just say
I couldn't tell you how they determine that or what that means mathematically or anything like that, but in physics, in the real world, in math, there are lots of dimensions. And they're real and they exist, and I can't explain them.
Can you just say that it's characters that exist in the same space but on a different plane?
You can say that. I think that's a fair way to categorize it.
Like ghosts.
Although it's different from that.
Yeah.
It's different from ghosts.
Sure.
Or heaven. Or things like that.
Yeah, but heaven it theoretically is like in a different...
So it's possible that just like with the words you choose, that could muddy the waters a bit.
Sure.
I think the easiest way to do it is you don't worry about the numbers. You don't worry about what dimension is what.
Yeah.
It's just, it is the realm of imagination.
But it's on this planet.
No, it's the realm of imagination.
So it's a different universe, you can just say.
No, it's beyond that. Like if each Earth in the multiverse is like a marble. Like a physical marble. Those are physical worlds. Then the fourth dimension is all of them moving around through time. The fifth dimension is the idea of a marble. Like, it's not physical. It's
Sure.
not bound to any one of them.
Sure.
They're all part of it, and it's part of all of them, and vice versa.
Sure.
God. Almost, yeah. So, I mean, like, the best idea is just, like, fifth dimension is just ideas. It's like an idea space. It's just concepts. It's purely
Sure.
conceptual. It's just imagination. So these beings that live there, they view us as these sort of like small, finite, contained lesser beings because we are what we are.
Yeah.
Maybe we're capable of creativity and stuff like that, but we're bound in forms and stuff like that. They are just ideas free flowing. You
Sure.
know what I mean?
Okay.
I think that's probably that's the easiest way to do it because really, truly, it doesn't operate the way like physics dimensions operate. I think it's best to just stay away from like what does the number mean or shit like that.
Sure.
It's just be like they're ideas. It's imagination.
Okay, that makes sense. Next question comes from Rick to the E, who asks, there aren't that many known fifth dimensional imps that I know of. But considering Batmite and Larry, what are the implications of the rest of the Bat family having imp counterparts? Also, please just talk about Larry more. I love that guy.
Larry doesn't really show up in comics.
Is this like a Teen Titans Go kind of character?
Teen Titans,
Sure.
the series before.
Sure, yeah.
Although, I actually don't think he's shown up on Teen Titans Go.
Wow.
Only in the previous series.
Wow.
Larry, as they call him, his actual name is like I can't pronounce it, but it's like Dick Grayson backwards.
Sure.
Is essentially like a Batmite of Robin.
Yeah.
But yeah, another fifth dimensional imp. Let's talk about imps generally here. So the beings of this fifth dimension, most of them are known as imps, although there are some genies as well. The distinction is minimal, I think. They're capable of like incredible power because they can do anything because they come from the realm of imagination and they're higher dimensional beings than we are. Near limitless power. So who are some of the ones that we know well? So there's Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Yeah.
Famous Superman antagonist, part of his rogues gallery. Basically, he always shows up to vex Superman. If Superman can make him spell or write or say his own name backwards, he's forced to return to the fifth dimension for 90 days. He can't come back to pester Superman for 90 days.
Yeah.
That's Mxyzptlk. Batmite is a Batman super fan who shows up and causes mayhem to see his hero in action, basically.
Yeah.
And that's how Batmite works. There is Yiz. 103.2. It's I'm gonna play the hits.
From the saltiest and freshest to the crustiest hits.
Don't stop playing those hits.
We're going to edge you till the end of the workday.
I want those songs in me. 103.2, the Yiz.
We spread the seed of music from sea to sea.
Come over here, you little song dumpsters.
Oh my God. Good God.
I'm so sorry. We're going to muse Kake all over you.
Your throbbing radio's gonna blow. The years.
Jesus Christ. What was I saying? Right, is the name of the Thunderbolt that Johnny Thunder has. So if you've been watching Stargirl, you've seen the Thunderbolt. He's a genie, like kind of made of pink, crackly electricity. But he's also from the fifth dimension. Same kind of idea. there's a character called Quisp who shows up in Aquaman comics. That's a fifth dimensional imp.
Sometimes I yiz into a sock and it gets crispy.
Jesus. Jesus Christ. What do we call music magazines? We call them Yiz Rags.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Oh, God. Why?
So Quisp.
Quisp is shown up, also from the fifth dimension, has had sort of adventures with Aquaman. There's one, I think, named Zook or Zuki or Zuka or something that
Zuko
has like some sort of Silver Age Martian Manhunter connection, but that one I'm pretty foggy on.
Sure.
Kind of like Gnort looking sort of guy. But yeah, there are quite a few sort of imps and genies and things like that out there. Larry is just a version of that was only on Teen Titans, but that's kind of interesting that there's one that's just only there because some of these other ones have had like multiple kicks at the can in different kind of formats or whatever. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know that there's a ton to say about Larry. Like, he's fun, but like there's not a lot going on. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. They kind of replaced that idea entirely with Nybor in Teen Titans Go, which is just Bizarro Robin. They kind of go like, instead of an imp, why don't we give Bizarro, like a team of Bizarros?
So do all of the Bat family have imp counterparts?
Oh, right. Sorry. Right. That's where this question was going. Not necessarily. No. It's not like a parallel Earth where it's like there's a you, there's a you. There's
okay,
a you,
yeah. It just happens to be this one imp really loves Batman.
Yeah, exactly. And it does follow that the more they interact with the main continuity and the heroes, the more there are more like them. Like, I think it's Wonder Woman 778 or 777, somewhere around there, in this relatively recent arc where Diana was going through like the multiverse and shit like that. They do end up in the fifth dimension, and we see a glimpse. Batmite is in that issue, but we also catch a glimpse of she might be called Wondermite, but it's an imp dressed like Wonder Woman. Cute. You know, like, I think there's the idea that like there's a sort of meta thing where it's like they kind of like their inspiration and like their imaginations are fired up by the heroes of the lesser dimension a little bit.
Oh, okay.
You know, Mixes Pitlick is like a kind of into Superman. Like, he vexes him. They kind of have an antagonist thing going on, but it's because he's like fascinated. Batmite's obviously obsessed. There's this Wondermite now. You know, Quisp never dressed up like Aquaman or whatever, but there's like a sea connection. He calls himself like a water sprite or something like that. So I think you can make the argument that imps and genies seem to take an interest. And so it's not outside the realm of possibility that someone at some point could be like, I'm big Barbara Gordon stan. I'm a genie. Sure. And now I'm going to be Batgirl Mite or whatever. Like, I think there's that's not out of the realm, but it's not a given. It's not a 1-for-1. They're not a parallel Earth.
Okay. Sure. All right. Let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram. Take some questions and answer them.
First question comes from, and only question comes from Multi Sanchez, who asks, "Are 50?"
It is I, the Multi Sanchez.
It's a lot of shit. Are fifth dimensional beings affected by the crisis events? Are they aware of these events, or do they show up after one and get confused about all the new status quo? It's a good question, right? Because if the fourth dimension is time and they're even outside of that, like...
It is a good question. I very deliberately for this episode, this doesn't always happen, partly because I don't always have time or I forget or whatever. But I did very deliberately go back and read some stuff.
Sure.
Because I was like, I know something like there must be evidence of something. The most recent kind of imp stuff that has happened, the most recent fifth dimension stuff that's happened, A, that Wonder Woman thing I talked about, and B was a piece from the Snyder Jimenez run on Justice League, which happens between Metal and Death Metal.
Sure, yeah.
And there's an arc in that one called The Sixth Dimension, and we'll get to that. But in that, Mixes Pitlick shows up. They kind of trap him, and they're like, "We actually kind of need your help because shit's going bad. The Legion of Doom is winning."
Oh, okay.
And we learn a lot about the structure of the multiverse and the omniverse and things like that in that arc. And the one thing that comes up in that arc is we learned that the fifth dimension is contained to the multiverse.
Oh,
it's a layer of the multiverse, which means each multiverse has one. In the way that each multiverse has time. It's like time wouldn't connect you to all of it. Or at least it doesn't in that moment.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff's a little fluid, and the Omniverse has been slightly restructured since those comics. But we could generally say, you've got your parallel Earths, however many there are, 52 or so, depending on what you're reading. And then you've got your sphere of the gods, where heaven and hell and New Genesis and Apocalypse are and things like that. But kind of on a higher plane than that, you have the fifth dimension. So if it's contained to the multiverse, that means it's affected when the multiverse is affected. Doomsday Clock, I'm doing so much citing of sources right now. Doomsday Clock sets up the idea that that Prime Earth, Earth Zero, is what's called a metaverse, which is when changes are made to the continuity of Earth Zero, they actually reverberate out and change other parallel Earths, even though they shouldn't. Theoretically, stuff changing on one Earth shouldn't change another one.
Yeah.
But Earth Zero is a metaverse, and it reverberates out. And we're dealing with the repercussions of that right now in something like Justice League Incarnate and Infinite Frontier, where other Earths are like, we're tired of your shit fucking up our lives.
Oh, interesting.
So that has come up. So we've set that up, which means that if continuity can change on Earth Zero and it affects the rest of the multiverse, including the sphere of the gods, it stands to reason it also affects the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
And you could wrap that up in that there used to be on Earth 2, he was Mr. Mixes Tiplik.
Yes.
And I think that started originally just as a spelling mistake. And then they made it continuity that on Earth 2, he was Mixes Tiplik, and on Earth 1, he was Mixes Pitlik.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Sure, that's cute.
It could explain that. I think it's fair to say, though, that the imps aren't necessarily if everyone forgets, after a crisis, they might not. But it would affect them maybe. Some change happens to them, but it doesn't necessarily mean they don't know it happened or that it affects them the same way it affects just random citizens on an Earth. But
do they perceive time differently because they're outside of it?
They do. In that Justice League arc, Mixes Pitlick says, "I looked into the fourth dimension. I know how things end."
Exactly, right?
So he can.
But because of that, are they ever current? They're not following it the same flow that we are. So it's they already have seen Crisis and seen before and after it.
Well, and this is just the thing. Even if they were changed, they'd probably catch up. The Flash does that sometimes, where it's a thing changes and then the Flash vibrates and he goes, "Great, I've got the new information from this vibrational plane or whatever."
Because there's a thing that they do.
They could do shit like that pretty easily. So it's the nice thing with those characters is you can make them just quote unquote forget something if you want, or you could be this is actually an earlier version of them, but they're showing up later because time is nothing to them. Or you could be they did forget, and then the later one goes no, I caught up. You could basically, continuity is nothing to them.
Yeah, because there's a thing that they do really well in the new Guardians of the Galaxy game with what's her name? The
Mantis?
Mantis, yeah. Where throughout the whole game she's constantly being "Oh, is this the version of this that does that? Oh, is this the time where you do this?"
Right.
oh yeah, we did this before, or we're gonna do. Oh no, that's gonna happen later. And I like that idea of it.
Right.
A character who's just like perceiving time completely differently. So
Yeah.
it's like where they're constantly being like, oh, which time frame is this? Like, I think that's a fun way that they could be doing the fifth dimensional characters.
Yeah, and I think that's basically. I mean, you'll listen. I'm sure you'll find evidence of like post-crisis. Here's the new Mix's Pitlick,
Sure, yeah.
and he doesn't talk about anything beforehand. And then you'll find versions later where he's like, back in the old days, we used to blah blah blah, and go, well, he's referencing pre-crisis.
Yeah,
and you go like, well, how does, I think you'll find evidence of all of it. The nice thing with them is that it kind of doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, because you can be like, oh, that's an old version.
They're everything,
That's
and
a new version.
especially now in the new Omniverse where everyone basically does that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that everyone's peering through time,
Sure.
but like regular citizens are like, hey, I don't remember getting coffee with you last week. And they go like, oh, that's because I like, there was a crisis. I died. And then like everyone is like aware of that now.
That's funny.
That they've moved in and out of existence and shit like that. That's another interesting thing that's kind of being dealt with, not fully being dealt with, but I like that it's out there that like random citizens are like, oh, multiverse.
Yeah. Like, oh, did I forget your birthday? Oh, wait, no. Oh, shit.
Oh, your birthday's a different day than I remember it being. And it's like, oh, my memories haven't aligned yet.
Yeah. I do like that idea. That's cool. That's rad as hell.
So especially in that world, then you add the layer that they're from the fifth dimension. It's like, yeah, continuity's fucking nothing. It doesn't. So if it does affect them, not for long. But the bigger answer, I think, is it by definition doesn't affect them.
Do you think there'd be more
because they're kind of everything and nothing, and
you'd think that DC would be all over fifth dimensional characters then, because they don't have to worry about the repercussions of fuckery.
Yeah, I mean, although really, truly, when you think about it, now that they've done this Omniverse thing,
sure,
if everyone stays on the same fucking page, you don't actually have to worry about it, because you go like, wait a minute, how did you do that? Because you were dead at the time, and you go like, it's a
time thing, yeah,
reverberation, different version of me, and people could just say that was a different version of me, and they go, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
you could say that. You don't have to like pretend they don't know.
Yeah.
And it's very freeing, I think, as a reader, for characters to do the same thing we do, where it's just like, it's a different version. Count it if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave Instagram and head on over to the Doxcord.
Oh, hang on.
What? What are you doing?
Here's the thing, though. I don't actually remember how this goes.
What? What's going on?
Toss a coin to your doctor. Oh, Doxcord of plenty. Doxcord of plenty.
I'm sorry, why did you need to pull something up?
Yo Crow told me to do that.
Oh.
I couldn't remember what song you told me to do. And then
Toss a coin to your Doxcord. Oh, Doxcord of plenty.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Toss a coin to your Doxcord.
Yeah, you be the bard. I'll just chill in this fucking big-ass hot tub.
Oh, podcast of plenty.
I'll hold my sword upside down.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, brush it against my face.
Put leather pants on.
Oh, my God.
It's me, Geralt.
Yep, that's you.
When he goes off sugar, he's Geralt of Stevia. You're welcome.
Solid. First question from the Doxcord is from the saddened Ryan, who asks, is Superboy Prime really stronger than Mr. Mix's Pitlick? If he isn't, how was he able to capture and hold him during Countdown?
Right. Countdown to Final Crisis. I believe the issue is 23. Countdown to Final Crisis 23. Superboy Prime, who at the time is calling himself Superman Prime because he's got some issues.
Okay. Not a Superboy, I'm a Superman.
Superman Prime.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally like the voice of that character. It's like, no!
Oh, that sucks.
No, but I don't mean like literally. I just mean like he's kind of a whiny fanboy.
That's what I mean.
That's like the character.
I like the fanboy part of it, but I don't like that.
I don't think he actually sounds like that, but like philosophically,
yes,
he's a little piss baby. he captures Mixie's Pitlick and brings him to like the source wall or something because he's like after more power or he's looking for the perfect universe, like the fucking Superboy Prime thing or whatever.
Sure.
And he's like, you have the power to do it. You're going to fucking help me. And he has him like bound and stuff. He like burns the S symbol like into Mixie's face and shit like that.
Sure.
I think he, if I'm remembering correctly, he pulls it off not because he's stronger than Mixie's Pitlick, but because Mixie is like temporarily depowered. I think by the Earth 3 Zatanna, like Superboy Prime's captured her or something and is forcing her to use magic to kind of magically depower Mixie or something like that. I think that's why he's able to contain him. It's not that he's more powerful than him. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure that they ever explain how even, what's her name? Anataz, how she's able to do it. But I think that's the setup. So my answer is no. Superboy Prime is not more powerful than Mixie. Because I'm pretty sure once he gets his powers back, he like immediately escapes. There's like nothing
Nice.
Superboy Prime could do. I think that's how he does it in that one. Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from a Bruno.
Bruno.
When the moon hits your eye like a big sardine potato, that's a
Lisbon.
A sardine potatoes.
Bruno called me out so hard a few weeks ago.
Bruno?
That like
He would never light me up.
it was, I can't remember if it's that I said it on the podcast and then he repeated it back to me or he just like pierced through the veil. But he was like, I bet you're like, when you think of Portuguese, you're thinking of Colin Firth in Love Actually. And I was like, that's 100% what I'm doing. I only ever think of Colin Firth. He has a big speech, but then he goes, Tudishna, which means like, you'll say no or something like that. Tudishna. And that's always what I think of. And I can't remember if it's that I've said that before and then he was calling back to it, or if he was just like, I know your type. And I was like,
you see me
oh my God.
clearer than I've ever been seen. The unspooled episode of Love Actually they just put out is really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Bruno asks, please talk about how Mr. Mrs. Picklick is also a part of the Marvel Universe, where he is the Impossible Man. What ramifications does that have to the connective tissues of the Omniverse, vis-a-vis the fifth dimension being an omni-connector, maybe?
Right. I had to look this up a little bit because obviously my Marvel knowledge is not there. The Impossible Man is like a Fantastic Four adjacent character.
Yeah.
I like a Kirby, maybe Kirby Lee creation or Kirby someone.
Yeah.
I'm only throwing that away because I literally don't remember. I just remember seeing Kirby when I looked at the Impossible Man like wiki thing.
Sure.
And that
Kirby's never taken any idea from one comic company to another.
And that character seems to have some kind of scamp sort of energy or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But there's some fucking issue of a DC comic where Mixie is like, and I'll be back. I got shit to deal with in another universe.
Yeah.
And then when you cut to him, it's like, without explicitly being, it's like very clearly like the Fantastic Four in the background. And he's drawn to look very much like the same green and purple or whatever as the Impossible Man.
Sure.
And then he has to be Mixie again or whatever. Implying that he is, in fact, the Impossible Man.
Wow.
However, in looking this up, I found a different thing, a different instance where Mixie and the Impossible Man actually meet each other.
What?
I can't remember what issue it's from, but I found some article that was like, hey, remember this? And apparently they meet and they swap champions or something.
Yiz.
And they say, oh yeah, they're Yiz swatting.
You fucking snowballed Mr. Pinkling.
Jesus Christ. I gotta say, just a tangent on this here. I saw some thread on Twitter of someone discovering that the music in Star Wars is called jizz music.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that, but I know that that's a thing.
So someone on Twitter, like literally over this Christmas break, had that broken to them. That they were like, man, I love that jazz is part of Star Wars. And someone was like, you know, it's called jizz music, right? And they were like, what? And they were like, yeah, it's called jizz music. I was like, no, it's not. And someone put up like a link to a wiki thing. He's like, no, it's called jizz music. And then he just goes down this rabbit hole. He's like, they call them jizz whalers.
They're jizz masters.
And they actually are jizz whalers.
Oh my God.
That's what you call expert jizz musicians.
Because of all the sperm?
I don't know.
That's why they're whalers?
Ooh,
yeah.
At any rate, I found that very funny.
That's very funny.
So there's kind of two contradictory things from what I can tell about this Impossible Man thing. There is one story that implies very strongly that Mixie and the Impossible Man are one and the same, and then there's some other story where they actually meet each other. Now, does that mean that they're like aspects of, because they're, you know, like we talked about this like very muddy thing with the New Gods about them manifesting in the physical world because they're from the sphere of the gods. You can have multiple Mr. Miracles, but really, are they all part of one? How does that work with the final dark side? We've talked about this a little bit, and it's very muddy, and basically the answer is we don't know.
Yeah.
We never really established that with the imps in the fifth dimension. They just show up. So, I mean, it's possible that there's an element of that, like, how do you manifest in 3 dimensions? And maybe it's 2 versions of the same being, and they're just, that's his game, and he's playing.
Yeah.
It could be that just his power is so vast that it allows him to travel beyond our multiverse into other ones. Now that the source wall is gone, and we're just in the omniverse, we still have a multiverse, if you think of it as like a little bubble. But instead of this bubble being inside like a concrete sphere, which it used to be with the source wall, now it's just a bubble floating on the wind. You could bump into other bubbles or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You could, theoretically, with enough power, you could see or enter those other multiverses and then the worlds therein.
Mm.
So as far as the omniverse is concerned, Marvel is out there. It exists. The 616, the whatever you call it, 1610, is that the Ultimate Universe?
I can't remember.
Whatever it is. All of those things are out there. If anyone was going to have the power to not only traverse parallel Earths, but parallel multiverses or alternate multiverses, it's a character like Mixie.
Yeah.
So I think either of those versions works, and I think the 5th dimension does kind of function as at least it's a well of enough power, and like those beings have enough power, they could get you there.
Yeah.
I think that totally tracks in terms of like the cosmic mechanics of it. Whether or not he actually is the Impossible Man, like I don't know if one of those is like way more of like an implied imaginary tale than the other one. Like they seem to be contradictory, but it's also imps, so who knows? I just thought it was interesting that it wasn't just like a one-time thing. Like there's one story that seems to imply one thing and one that seems to be more like they have an exchange and they meet each other. So if anyone has read those Marvel stories or is more familiar with the Impossible Man, maybe has better insight on it than I do, I'd be really curious about that, because normally when something like this comes up, I look it up and it's like this one time a thing happened. It's really obvious. And in this case, it was like 2 completely contradictory sort of ideas.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Let's go to the next question from Fartbutt, who asks, since neither of us could guess this character in the guessing game, tell me about Quisp.
Right. Quisp. First appearance is actually in Aquaman Volume 1, Number 1.
Whoa.
Which eventually I will have.
That's right.
It will be mine.
Is it like crazy expensive?
Probably. I don't know. I mean, other than Quisp, it's not like necessarily a key issue beyond being the first issue of Aquaman's first self-titled series.
Yeah.
Because Aquaman existed in other comic, like anthology comics, for a way long time.
Yeah.
You know, there's Aquaman stories in Adventure Comics, and there were Aquaman stories in, is it More Fun Comics, or maybe not that one, but whatever, just in other books.
Yeah.
So Quisp shows up there, and like I said, refers to themselves as a water sprite. I'm not sure if the fifth dimension reveal happens in that issue or not, but eventually they do make Quisp a fifth dimensional imp. Now, by the time we get to Aquaman's first solo series, we're like in the 60s. Aquaman doesn't get a solo series for a while, which means that like Mix's Pitlick has been around for over a decade. The idea of fifth dimensional imps is out there. It's possible Batmite also shows up before Quisp does.
Really?
Possible? I'm sort of, that's a shot. That one's a shot in the dark. But I should back up a little bit too to say the idea of the fifth dimension.
You know, the first appearance of Quisp is in Aquaman in issue number.
I just said that.
I know.
And then
I know.
You said, "Isn't that expensive?" We were having this conversation.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was number 1 though.
I just said that, and then you said, "Wouldn't that be expensive?"
No, I was just talking
You were
about Aquaman.
in that conversation.
I heard the Aquaman number 1
You
part.
just had a complete dissociative, like,
I'm an imp.
you don't perceive time the same way.
It's $925.
It is?
Yeah.
For like, what's the quality?
9.5.
Oh.
You know, maybe somebody just recently got a bonus.
I have that.
And their wife doesn't know how much it is.
No, she does.
Oh, I gave you the opportunity. I said I wouldn't say
we
anything.
used some for Christmas. And
Sure.
things. I was being a good partner.
Blech.
I also bought a ton of shit for myself. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I was going to say, I should back up and say, I think if you look it up or whatever, the fifth dimension as a concept first comes up in like Wonder Woman in the 40s. But I don't know that they had solidified the idea of it being imagination or imps or things like that. I think the ideas all coalesce later around Mix's Pitlick. But it's not like he shows up in Wonder Woman first or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where like a few kind of parallel ideas, someone goes like, let's rope those together. So Quisp, I think, gets caught up in the roping. I don't know if when in that issue where Quisp shows up, they're like, we already know the rules of Imps.
Yeah.
It's the 60s. I doubt that it's that solid.
Sure.
But eventually they rope Quisp in. But the idea of like identifying as a water sprite and things like that, you know, like, it's interesting. There's a thing with imps that has been established over the decades where the only rules, like the only limits on their powers are the ones they impose on themselves, basically. Because again, they're from a realm of imagination. Mix's Pitlick has decided he likes the game. So he's like, if you make me say my name backwards, I can't come back for 90 days. And he's bound to that because he's made it happen. But like, those aren't the same rules necessarily for Yiz.
Like all of the,
like Yiz the genie has a different set of rules, which is like you have to say you, and then you make a wish.
say you, say me.
Somebody say you.
Yeah, but you know that if Yiz shows up too many times in a day, it needs like there's a refractory period.
Oh yeah, between wishes.
Yeah.
Woo.
Already Yiz twice today.
Yeah, just wish it dust now.
Yeah.
So like technically, like he's imposed a different set of rules on him.
Yeah.
Quisp saying I'm a water sprite implies imposing a different set of rules on them. That doesn't 100%.
They're both semen.
That doesn't 100% hold because they use the reverse name saying rule of Mix's Pitlick on other imps in other comics. Mm-hmm. Like you trick someone else to saying their name backwards. So that rule doesn't 100% hold.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting that like it's a very, again, like the continuity thing, the nice thing about imps is like, it's their own rules. They don't all have to be the same. You can go like, you're an imp. that like electricity being's been a genie the whole time. They go like, they're from the same place. Like you kind of just go like, I don't know. They made different rules for themselves. Yeah. It's kind of like a nice way to just be like, this is all the most insane, powerful, something from nothing.
Yeah.
Kind of powers out there are all basically the same thing.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question from Yo Crow. It's scared, bro.
Yar.
Yar. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
The C.
No, it's the R.
It's a perfect joke.
Yes, because there's no matter what, there's the opposite reaction. Yeah.
Unless you tell it to two friends.
Oh no. It's about gutting you, you fucking cuck.
I was very concerned about what was happening there. I thought you were going to say something else.
Huh?
What was the question?
It's British. It's fine. You can say that.
Oh, no, that's not even what I meant.
Oh. Yeah. Oh. The question is, does Batmite have any villain counterparts on his Earth dimension? Like Jokemite, Clay Dwarf, Cat Simp, Cat Imp?
Ooh, I'm a cat simp.
Well, I mean, this is part of the problem is that, yeah, you are a pussy. There's not, it's not a counterpart thing, right? So there isn't, just because there's one version of a character doesn't mean that they all get versions of them, unless one of them becomes obsessed with them and decides to.
Totally. Yeah, it's not a given. I think it was Batman Brave and the Bold, that show.
Okay.
Which was it was all a team up show, right?
Yeah.
Brave and the Bold, but it was also like leaning into the more kind of silly versions of things. Had a Joker that was very much like felt a lot like that sort of 70s like Super Friends-y kind of Joker.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's an episode where there is a Joker mite.
Really?
In that show.
Really?
I'm pretty sure there is.
Wow.
Which is a fun riff.
Yeah.
But if we're talking, the most famous kind of Joker adjacent imp story is an arc called Emperor Joker, where I can't remember if he tricks him or how he does it, but he gets Mxyzptlk's powers.
Wow.
And basically just keeps remaking the world and unmaking it and remaking it and doing shit like that. They might even do that on Brave and the Bold. They might do a riff on Emperor Joker, actually. And he keeps killing Batman. And he's like, this isn't fun. Like, I thought I would like this. I don't like this.
Yeah.
But that's a comic storyline called Emperor Joker. And yeah, it's the Joker with the power of Mr. Mxyzptlk.
That's crazy.
Which is fucked up. It's crazy fucked up. I can't remember how they resolve it either, actually, to be honest. Probably something about, like, make him say his own name backwards.
Sure, yeah.
There's probably some shit like that in there that I don't remember. But those are the two kind of Joker imp things I can think of. Is that Emperor Joker, and then I think there is a Joker mite in that cartoon.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, which is fun. But again, yeah, like you said, it's not a given. There's not like a Sinestro mite or like a thing like that necessarily.
Yeah.
Although it's kind of a funny idea.
I do like that they kind of just look like little kid versions of them.
Yeah, I mean the imps in general tend to look just like small people. The ones that go by Mite look like kind of chibi sort of like kid kind of versions, almost like the Earth 42 kind of versions of the League.
Yeah.
They also look like that a little. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Nice. All right, last question. Oh. Hey, do you like these blinking neon lights on my new Hyundai? Do you like the blinking neon lights on my Hyundai?
Why are you saying it like that?
This question is, read this in an offensive accent.
I mean, I can't believe you picked the most restrained, nuanced choice for that.
Because you can't fucking goat me into doing shit. If I'm going to say something offensive, it's going to be on my own fruition.
God, what a hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, free speech.
I do it because it feels right.
Oh, no. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Jesus.
I thought that would have landed better.
I don't know why you would have thought that would have landed better.
Because it's
I mean, it's barely offensive. It's just wrong. You just went like Hyundai. I don't know that people
with blinking neon lights on it though. It's like offensive how ugly it is. It's like blinking neon.
I think
lights
you
on
went
it.
too many layers deep for this.
Me.
One.
It's ridiculous.
You may have overthought this.
Never. Well, name one time. Is Q from the TNG/DS9 an imp?
Yeah. / Voyager.
Are-
Q shows up on Voyager more than on DS9.
And Lower Decks.
Yeah, he has shown up on Lower Decks. He's about to show up on Picard again.
Yeah. Are they more or less powerful than Mixopic?
Right. Interesting. I mean, they've served the same purpose. The sort of like omnipotent, omniscient trickster. You know, the imps and the Q continuum are very much the same archetype, the same type of character, type of being. I think the difference is that the Q continuum, though extremely powerful and largely outside of space and time, feels a lot more anchored to the universe than the imps do. The imps are really out there, I would argue, in DC. And increasingly so as like narratively we've got a better handle on the fact that like they are in this dimension. It is this dimension means this, that's solidified over time. Q makes like alternate timelines and shit. And he could, he could just fuck with space and time, make shit appear and change the rules of physics. He could do all sorts of stuff. But the Q kind of feel like they're relatively anchored. And even though they can traverse timelines and like parallel Earths and shit like that, I always get the feeling that like they mostly exist in that universe. Like they have those abilities, but they're from there.
Oh, sure.
That's always how I've felt about the Continuum, at least, because they also have like a history with the what's the fucking species name? Whatever Guinan is.
Oh, yes.
Guinan and Soren, the bad guy from Generations.
Yes.
Their species has like a history with the Q. Like when Guinan shows up, like they put like their hands up like they're gonna kung fu fight or something.
That's right,
and he's like, "What is she doing here?" And she's like, "Get the fuck out of here, you!" Like,
fucking love that.
They have a history, and that to me feels like way more rooted in like that universe.
Yeah.
To me. But I'm thinking about it. I'm like, if I'm trying to think, like, if I saw like a mirror Q, would I go, that's not how that works?
Yeah.
And I think that's not how that works.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just that Trek hasn't explored that maybe as deeply as the comics have with Mixie and stuff like that.
Sure.
I think maybe they're largely the same. But it's not necessarily that the Q come from the realm of imagination. I think here's the big difference. Mixie has always been an imp from the fifth dimension. That's the realm of imagination. Always has, always will. And not just in like our perception of time. It's just like from the moment of existence to the moment of non-existence. That's what Mixie is.
Yeah.
I get the impression that the Q have evolved to that.
Sure.
Think like Interstellar rules. What's the big reveal of Interstellar is that humanity eventually transcends 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
That's the whole weird bookcase shit. We're like, no, Murph, don't go.
Yeah.
Like that's, it's like, oh, it was people the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about the Q. Like they got there. Mm-hmm. And now they're all across time and shit like that. Whereas Mixie is just, he didn't start as a person who became that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think that's in my head and heart, that's how I feel about them.
That fucking water planet on Interstellar is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and like totally not the right choice. So like, thanks Coop for making motherfuckers spend 7 years in orbit.
It's more than 7, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is, because it's like every hour is 7 years or something. He's like, yeah,
he's up there forever.
It's like 30 years or something crazy shit. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
insane, terrifying planet.
I don't really. Looking back, especially because I think there was like some sexual misconduct thing, I don't really love looking back on those honest trailers anymore. I think one of the guys from there had some sort of like grooming shit. I mean, it's like long since happened. They got rid of them or whatever, but it kind of tainted those for me.
Yeah.
But that Interstellar one always made me laugh because it always started with like, on a world that's run out of okra, and then just smash cuts to John Lithgow saying, they say it's the last crop of okra, and it just cuts back. It's just like, it was such perfect editing.
That's very funny. I like that.
It always made me laugh. That's all what I always think of with Interstellar now. On a world that's run out of okra, they say it's the last crop of okra.
So funny. That's very funny. I like that a lot. All right. Well, that is the last question.
I forgot a thing I wanted to mention. That's related to a previous question.
Sure. Sixth dimension?
No, let's leave that.
Okay.
It's actually there was a question about Superboy Prime and how he captured Mixie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
There are 2 other instances of people, quote unquote, capturing Mixie that I can think of that are worth bringing up. Relatively recent. One is in that 6th dimension arc where it starts with they find a way circumstantially to trick him into thinking it's been 90 days, but it hasn't. They make him show up. Martian Manhunter like psychically projects his name backwards into his mind and says, if you push back or fight me, you'll say it out loud and you'll go back to the 5th dimension. So like, don't move, don't do anything. And also because it hasn't been 90 days, then by his own rules, he can't fuck with them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
oh, interesting.
So they that one is sort of like, we got you on a technicality. That was like a way they captured him for a little bit.
Yeah.
The other one was back when DC the Rebirth era started, there was this character that was out there that was very mysterious, and his name was Mr. Oz. And he had this green cloak and a sort of reverse looking scythe where like the blade curved up.
Oh, weird.
And he seemed very powerful, but you never knew what he was up to. And he would just show up and he knew things about Superman and then he'd leave again. And you discover later that it's Jor-El and that he survived Krypton because fucking Dr. Manhattan plucked him from the explosion for reasons I don't know ever got explained. But at some point, because Jor-El as Mr. Oz is a little unhinged and is sort of looking to like keep his son safe, he manages to capture Mixie.
Wow.
And there's a thing where I don't know how he did it. It was some sort of like he trapped him in like a negative universe or something, so his powers didn't work or some shit.
Sure.
And Mixie was like, Superman will find me, we're buds. And then Superman doesn't find him. Oh. And then he kind of like snaps and he's like, he didn't find me. I thought we had a relationship. And he kind of goes crazy. He says his own name backwards and it breaks his prison, but like wounds him. And then he becomes Clark Kent, but doesn't know he's Mix's Pitlick. Jesus. So then for a bit in the comics, Superman was like, how is there a Clark Kent? And he's like genetically Clark Kent.
Funny.
And you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Because and then you reveal eventually Mixie remembers who he is. He's angry at Superman. There's a whole thing. But briefly for a bit there, Jor-El somehow extra-dimensionally trapped Mix's Pitlick.
Wow.
So Superboy Prime he managed it a different way using magic from a parallel Earth, from a parallel Earth Zatanna. So there are ways to trap or trick or manipulate these imps, even though they are omnipotent.
Sure.
But it seems to require quite a bit of forethought.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, that is the end of the questions. Is it time to see if you can go over 500?
I mean, am I under it right now?
I don't know.
Actually, well, while you do your intro, I'm going to look up the current standings.
Okay. Well, it's time to play Can You Guess the Name of the Character based on who someone does not read comic books can describe that character to us. If you don't know how this game works, I send a photo of a DC character to my wife who does not read comic books, nor does she care for them. She sends back 4 clues describing what she sees. Are you ready to play?
I am. I just want to say, this is broken out into years. Thank you, Josh Gill, for keeping track of this stuff. And it's based on when we started the game, which was I mean, we've been doing it forever, but basically the anniversary is always on the annual.
Okay.
So since June 12th, basically. The previous year, I went 47 wins, 14 losses, and the notorious push/debatable with the multi-image debacle.
Not an issue.
But that was a definitive win year.
Okay.
Where we stand right now in
Yeah.
this year, 15 wins, 12 losses.
Wow.
I'm still winning, but it is way less definitive.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
let's see.
So
I know the last one I did was really challenging, so I want to...
I mean, I'll never forgive. I have no one to be angry at but me. I overthought it.
That might have been my
I just fucking you
crowning achievement.
You called
I
your
think.
shot.
Yeah.
I overthought it.
All
Can't
right,
believe it.
let's see what you got this week then.
All right.
So, 4 clues. First of the 4 clues. Mega thigh gap.
Mega thigh gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's got a thigh gap? I mean, depending on the artist, that could be anybody. Unless they stand like a spider or something, and that's why it's a big old thigh gap, because their legs go real far apart. I don't know. I mean, this isn't how I would draw her, but she has been drawn this way. Black Canary.
No.
Okay. I'm thinking of Otto Schmidt's artwork for those about to come at me.
Sure.
I need another clue.
Okay.
That's not
Next
gonna do it for
clue. Denim and Spandex.
Oh, is it like that one era of Wonder Woman where it was like the black and white and gold and
No.
okay. Denim and Spandex. No, he doesn't wear denim, does he? Wild Dog?
No.
Denim and Spandex. Guy Gardner?
No.
Interesting. Is it like a cop or something? Is it like
There's no character named
Harvey
a cop.
Bullock?
No.
Next clue.
Okay. Third clue. Classic Nazi blonde curls.
I was thinking the Nazis is straight haired, but the curls is interesting. That's what's throwing me off.
Not my Nazis.
Not Z's Nazis.
Not S's Nazis.
Okay.
Yep.
Classic Nazi blonde curls. Denim, spandex, thigh gap.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things happening here right now. I feel like I can picture it. But I don't know that I'm picturing like an actual character. I'm just picturing
those things.
I'm just picturing what those things combined look like. Oh, is it Supergirl?
No.
I was thinking there's like Supergirl wearing like the Superboy like cool outfit or whatever. I was like, oh. Last clue.
All right, this one's going to give it away.
Okay.
A is for Aryan.
I mean, it's not Aryan.
No. No. Crazy that it's a character.
I mean, he's not named for that. You could call him like
Inspired by
Aryan.
maybe.
Or we could probably fudge the pronunciation to get it away from that word. Inspired by. I mean, I feel like this is the same clue as the last one. If you're saying Nazis and blonde, I'm picturing Aryan.
Nope.
A is for Aryan, though.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a. Is it Animal Man?
It is Animal Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was like, you're missing a key part here.
Yeah, I get. No, you're right. Yeah, spandex, denim, blonde hair.
Look at that fucking thigh gap.
He does have a thigh gap there. That's true. Or is where his thighs meet just being obscured by his penis?
That's actually not abs.
That's all dick.
Yeah.
Animal Man, Buddy Baker.
That's right. Holy shit.
First appeared Strange Adventures 280 something.
I was trying to find a different character today because I recently bought some books that I'll talk about when they arrive because they'll be here soon. But they're characters that I like couldn't find information about.
Oh,
but I got books for, and I was like, ooh, that's good. But then I like literally couldn't find photos of them, and I was like,
yeah, I mean, at that point, let's just call it a loss already.
Yeah.
We'll just move on.
Weirdly, there was toys, but no comics.
So are these characters from like cartoons or something?
There's comics of them. Like I just bought the comics of them.
Right, but you couldn't just Google them.
I tried to, and only toys came up, and I was like, I can't use a photo of a toy.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
Interesting.
You'll see. Very fun.
Interesting.
By
By the way, you absolutely can use a photo of a toy. Just one photo.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, but the toy isn't really.
What's the difference between that or like sometimes it's a photo from like a cartoon or sometimes it's a photo from. Sometimes they have one weird outfit for 3 issues. You happen to pick that image. That's the one I'm stuck with. What's the difference?
They're all drawn.
I guess
they're all animated. The clear delineation, like that's why I don't use photos of like movies and stuff because I think that's unfair.
Well, but also I think the photos from movies also implies that those characters are so popular that
I mean that doesn't negate,
defeat the purpose.
That doesn't
of the
defeat
thing.
we've talked about that. That's not the point.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah. He tried to fucking mix a pick like me. Yeah.
Can't make me say my name backwards.
Dear.
Could rot cod.
What?
Said Dr. DC backwards.
Oh, yeah, you did it. We would love to hear from you, residents. How able were you to get the clue this week?
Yeah, that was a good one. Thank you for easing me back into 2022.
Look, I thought the last one I gave you was pretty easy.
So upsetting.
Am I wrong?
I can't believe. I mean, I know exactly why it happened. I'm just very frustrated with myself that I let that happen to me.
God, it's like nothing tastes as sweet. There's literally nothing in the world that makes me happier than like a scheme going right.
You are a real schemer.
I'm a real mix of
I mean, I made the joke that I said my name backwards, but you're the imp. Yeah.
That's 100% what the
You're
energy.
my mixes pitlick.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, dum-dum.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Why don't you send us some clues for next week's episode?
Clues?
Some
We'll figure out what next week's episode is when we're in it.
Why don't you send some questions for next week's episode? And the theme is... oh my God, so much suspense.
Yeah, I mean, of course it's suspenseful. We're waiting for clues.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Next week, we're talking about the work of Tom King.
Holy shit. He's not on the show.
No. God, no. But yeah,
he's in fucking Baghdad.
Talking about the different series that he's written, the characters he's worked on, his interpretations of certain like events. And
I got a
things
few
like that.
Tom King up there.
There's quite a few things to pick from and a wide variety of stuff. So
God, do I need to read
the DC work of Tom King. That's what we're talking about next week, so send your questions.
Is he in Marvel?
Great question. No idea. I don't pay attention.
Yeah. Well, you could send those clues to our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast.
our Twitter,
At Dr. DC.
our Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast.
our email,
DrDCPodcast@gmail.com.
jump on our subreddit.
r/Dr_DC.
You can always call the doc phone.
208-917-3238.
That's 208-917-DCEU.
If you're nasty.
We're on fucking TikTok.
Yeah, I gotta actually make videos. I keep getting distracted.
I'm on.
I realize I'm just watching, and then it's been like 3 hours, and
You're
I'm like,
like a
oh fuck,
TikTok-
I didn't
like
make
a
it.
voyeur.
Yeah, it's like I scored really highly on that in some unrelated test, or
Like
something.
as if you did.
As if I did.
Yeah.
I'll never tell.
I'm on TikTok too.
Yes. So you can follow us at either at Dr. DC or
At the Northern Canadian.
on TikTok, which we're there. We're the old guys.
I mean, not really.
We're actually not.
There's a lot of older guys.
It must be depressing for the young people. This must have been like how we felt when our parents got on Facebook.
Yeah, it just happened a lot quicker, and we have been saying less like racist things.
So far.
There's always time.
Yeah.
And you can go to our website.
DrDCPodcast.com or .ca.
We got it at the beginning of this episode, and we want more 5-star reviews.
Baby.
You get to 200. You get
Keep
that Lord of
sending
the
them-
Rings, maybe.
Keep sending them our way. Richard keeps moving the goalposts, but we will meet him on the battlefield.
Look, better get it in before the end of the year.
Stop making random new rules.
It's not a rule. It's just hard to do a thing if the podcast doesn't exist.
Hashtag last year of the show.
Yeah, that's right.
So send those reviews in on Apple Podcasts or Facebook. Spotify has a rating/review system.
You have to listen on the platform, but you can then review.
You can cheat it though and just mark a bunch of episodes as listened.
Sure. But also, click on those, baby, and pretend
Yeah.
to listen. You can just click to the back end of it. I don't care.
Yeah, and
Put them on in the background. Put them on to your friends and your workmates, but just play them on their computers.
if you've left, I've left ratings and I haven't figured out how to leave reviews. If you
Really?
have left a review, I think some of you have,
And you
do you
took
mind
screenshots?
finding it and screenshotting
I think
it?
they
'Cause
did.
Right now, I can't actually go on
See it.
Spotify, see it. I don't know if it's because they're beta rolling it out or something like that, but
Yeah.
at any rate, you could do that stuff there. But yeah, send us screenshots. Let's get those reviews going, and we'll read them on the show.
It's the only way I like to roll things out. Beta.
Can I roll it out now?
No.
All right.
Send us some physical mail.
Yeah. 301 Hogue Street, Hoge Street, Whitehorse, Yukon, Canada, Y1A 6.
Nope.
No, Y1A 1V8.
Yeah. Oh, almost gave up your own.
Almost gave out my postal code. Oops. Sorry, honey.
Oops, all postal codes.
It's like, oops, all postal codes episode of Dr. DC. It wasn't even funny or
No,
good.
they just kept repeating of their postal code, which isn't enough information to do anything.
N1S 4W7.
Yeah,
was
oh
the-
my God.
the house I grew up in as a child.
We
Pretty
got
sure that's not my parents' current one. God, I
it,
hope.
it literally doesn't matter. That's not enough information to
It is. It gets you within a street, basically.
depending on the area. I think we have a lot. If you did the first 3 letters, it's basically the entire Whitehorse.
No, but I mean
You give it the whole thing.
I'm pretty sure that's the one we moved from, so that one's fine.
Well, drawing attention to it definitely won't instigate it.
Yeah, mail something to the random people that live in my childhood home.
Weird.
The doctor wanted you to have this.
Oh my God. The doctor prescribed this for you.
Yeah. It's doomsday clock.
It's a couple of years. If you want even more content like this, subscribe.
I can't imagine you do.
But if you do, you'll find a lot more like this and worse on Patreon.
yeah, patreon.com/DrDC. We got 3 levels, $1, $5, $7. All of them give you access to the Doc Squad, our awesome fan community. It's a ton of fun in there. Plus, at the higher levels, you get bonus episodes, videos, theme polls, all sorts of fun stuff. And it helps support us and what we do here.
Absolutely. And if you want to continue that support train, run it on us.
Ooh.
Go to our other podcast and subscribe.
Yeah, Ghost Facers, a Supernatural rewatch. We're going through every episode of CW Supernatural. We are a third of the way through season 4 right now. And we talk about real world monster lore and behind the scenes production stuff about the show. Sometimes Richard betrays my trust. It's a great time other than when I get really angry.
Well, you've never done that on the podcast, any podcast.
I think if I did that, I'd be kind of known for it.
Yeah, you don't have, bursts of anger.
Name one time I've dug my heels in. I defy you. No. Don't move on. I'll wait until you name it. Name a time. Name a time.
Ciao, ciao.
Name a time. Adios.
They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.